Yeah, that's a little bit better. That's not the worst thing I've ever seen. Will the computer be okay? That's the question. Hello, everyone. Welcome back and to read the Bible with me in 30 days. I hope. I think I'm really flagging on energy last 2 days. Just not really energy. Um, it's been harder to get myself together and get to reading. And yeah, there's no real obstacle in my way, schedule wise. It's just been harder. So sometimes Bible reading is like that. And I think it's probably spiritual. But we're going to continue, and maybe today and yesterday we're reading a little bit less. If you saw the title, I said 16, number 16 to 36. And I think that that's pretty fair given the time of night that it is. And then we can make that up, make up the difference between these 2 days. I think we can. Um, Mathematically, in my mind, it works. I haven't put the yet, since it's better for me to do. But if we can't, then we'll just do our best. Anyhow, yesterday we read Numbers 1 through 15, I guess, and I think that that's a kind of funny story, honestly. Like I said, I'm just kind of not with it today. Um, so we started off in Numbers with Numbers is numbering, a lot of numbering things, and so in the beginning we numbered all of the men in like the fighting men. First, he goes through and he numbers all the fighting men, and then he goes through and he numbers the priests. Some things that changed were if you were reading through in the book of Exodus, I think it's in Exodus, where he talks about the the redeeming of the firstborn. Maybe I want to do a little bit more in-depth study of this because um, initially, there's the plague of the firstborn, and that doesn't fall upon the Israelites because they're covered with the blood of the Passover, and so the angel of the Lord passes over them, and then we see that the firstborn are God is claiming all the firstborn of Israel for Himself, all of the firstborn males, all the firstborn livestock are for himself. And now we've seen that he has substituted the Levites and their livestock for the firstborn of Israel. So no longer will the firstborn of Israel be dedicated to the Lord. It'll be the firstborn of the Levites and their livestock. So that's been a significant change. Um, what else? We did, there's some dedication of these different 12 days of dedication of these different offerings that were given to the temple. We have several bowls, platters filled with different offerings, and then we have different livestock that are sacrificed for peace offerings, sin offerings. I think there's a peace offering and a sin offering. These are things that, y'all, I really feel like I don't understand enough about. And it's something that I would really like to understand a little bit more, especially as I'm reading this. I think um, it's one of those things that the more I read, the more I realize that I don't understand these things. So if there's an opportunity for that. Right now, we're going to continue reading the dedication of the lamps. Let's see. What else? What else? What else? What else? The silver trumpets. I think this is really interesting. So we read about how I commented on this last time, but read about how they had it's a massive camp. I kind of the math that I did, I think loosely you could say it's at least probably around 3 million people, at least that many that are passing through just based upon the number of men of like fighting age. And if you think about, if they're married, if they had kids, you guesstimate, like, I feel like it has to be at least around 3 million people. That's an incredible amount of people. It's like, the size of the city of San Antonio, what it used to be, and I can't even imagine, like, everyone in San Antonio is saying, "Okay, like, let's move," and everybody just gets up and starts walking together. It's wild. Think of a city, where there's about 3 million people-ish, maybe more, like, all traveling together in tents. It's amazing. And so they have these silver trumpets, and the silver trumpets are used as signaling to let them know when they need to break camp and who's going to break camp first, second, third, fourth, and then anything else in the community that um, needs to be communicated. So um, we had some situations with more complaining about this and that and the other. It really resonates with me personally. Um, and how upsetting it is to God, whenever I complain about this, that, or the other. And the Lord wants to, like, he meets us with compassion, right? Always. Um, but I think that when I read passages like this, and so I guess what I'm saying when he meets us with compassion is that and we see this in other books of the Bible too, where the Lord really differentiates between, like, people who are in very difficult circumstances and um, and struggling with grief or dealing with trials and tribulations, and the people that are truly complaining. And I think I know I've done both. So it seems like there definitely is in other parts of the Bible we've read, even in Jonah. I think Jonah is so amazing. God's like, I grew a tree for you, and Jonah's like, thanks. and then um, and then he gets really angry, and God takes the tree away, and God says to him, you know, you had compassion on the tree, but what about all these people and their livestock? God's thinking about their livestock too, and um, anyway, so uh, we see that too with Elijah that God does not. God makes a distinction, and He's very discerning in terms of this situation with the complaining, and yet when there is genuine complaining, um, it's very. I think it's very hurtful to the Lord, especially in this instance because God had done so much for these people. And I noticed that there was a difference. I know that when they first left Egypt, like, they were communicating more directly with the Lord, and now they've come to the point where um, they are there's a distance, there's a gap between them and the Lord, and they're not communicating as directly to Him. I think that if they had just gone to the Lord and requested meat, I don't think He would have necessarily said no to them. He might have, but I don't think He would have. But they didn't request what they wanted. They just complained about not having it. Anyhow, enough about that. Um, Complaining, very serious thing. Complaining, I guess here's the thing. Complaining in the situation when you could pray instead, like, instead of complaining, you could make your request before the Lord, and he didn't. Then we have a situation with Moses and Miriam and Aaron. The situation with the Ethiopian woman, again, like, y'all, like, these are questions. Like, it's interesting. Like, the more I read these books in this close of a time frame, the more questions that I have and things that I think I just got to accept it before, and I don't know why I didn't question before. But these it seems as if Moses has, two different wives. We don't really know. He was married to Zipporah, and his father-in-law was a man named Jethro, and now his father-in-law seems to have changed, and he's married to an Ethiopian woman. There's some unhappiness between his brother Aaron and his sister Miriam, thinking that they are should be on equal standing with him, and in terms of leadership, and God very resoundingly puts that down and says, "No, like, I have chosen Moses to be the leader of these people. I didn't choose." Aaron to have this particular position. I didn't choose Miriam. No. And so we see this a couple different times where there's a little bit of a uprising, a little bit of almost like a mutiny in the wilderness going on against Moses. And so God intervenes and really puts his foot down and shows people like, no, I've chosen Moses, and that's very important. Finally, we have the spies sent into Canaan. So these two men, heroic men, Joshua and Caleb, were sent with a whole group of other men into the land of Canaan. So God's about to send them in to Canaan, and the people are like, wait. Before we go into this land that God's going to give to them, like we just want to make sure, like just want to check everything out before we go in, before we take our whole this whole group of people in, massive group of people. So they send the spies, and the spies come back, and they're like, "Ooh, the people are really big, and I don't think we can do this." Um, and God says, "Okay, if you don't think you can do it, then, and you don't think I can do it, that's more over the point. You don't think I can do it. After I've already delivered you out of Egypt, I parted the Red Sea. Um, I performed all these miracles for you. Like, if you don't believe I can do it, then, and it's really upsetting to you, they went and cried all night about it. Um, you know, fine, then you won't go in." And so they don't. And they spend the next 40 years until that generation has passed away in the desert. So um, that's kind of where we are now. Is we have God says you're not going to go in. So they tried. They say no. We'll go in. We'll go in. And then it's really not funny. But so they go. God Moses says, "I'm not going with you." The Lord says he's not going with you, so I'm not going with you. The ark doesn't go with them. And so they try to go in after they've been so afraid of their enemies. They try to go in and conquer their enemies on their own, and they get pretty badly beaten. So we're in the wilderness now, and still going to be in the wilderness for a while. We're going to continue to have some questioning of Moses's authority to lead from the Lord. And I think that that's where we'll pick up today. So let me pray and we'll get started. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for your word. Thank you that your word ministers to our hearts, our souls, our minds. Thank you that you are here with us, Father, to be thankful, but in part because it's good for us, Lord Jesus. And I pray, Lord, that as we read your word, as I read your word, Lord, anyone who would join me, Lord, I pray that you would help us to hear your word clearly, to understand it as you intended it, and to know how you would have us apply it to our lives, Father. I ask this in your holy name, Jesus. Amen. Okay, we go. Now, Korah, the son of Ishar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, with Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On, the son of Peleth, the sons of Reuben, took men, and they rose up before Moses with some of the children of Israel. 250 leaders of the congregation. Representatives of the congregation, men of renown. 250 leaders of the congregation. Representatives of the congregation, men of renown. They gathered together against Moses and Aaron and said to them, "You take too much on yourselves, for all the congregation is holy, every one of them, and the Lord is among us. Why then do you exalt yourselves above the assembly of the Lord?" So when Moses heard it, he fell on his face, and he spoke to Korah and all his company, saying, "Tomorrow the Lord will show who is his and who is holy, and will cause them to come near him. That one whom he chooses, he will cause to come near him. Do this, take censers, Korah and all your company, put fire in them and put incense in them before the Lord tomorrow. And it shall be that the man whom the Lord chooses is the Holy One. You take too much upon yourselves, you sons of Levi." Then Moses said to Korah, "Hear now, you sons of Levi. Is it a small thing to you that the God of Israel has separated you from the congregation of Israel to bring you near to himself, to do the work of the tabernacle of the Lord, and to stand before the congregation to serve him? and that he has brought you near to himself, you and all your brethren, the sons of Levi with you. And are you seeking the priesthood also? Therefore, you and all your company are gathered together against the Lord. And what is Aaron that you complain against him? And Moses sent to call Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab. But they said, We will not come up. Is it a small thing that you have brought us up out of a land flowing with milk and honey, to kill us in the wilderness, that you should keep acting like a prince over us? Moreover, you have not brought us into a land flowing with milk and honey, nor given us inheritance of fields and vineyards. Will you put out the eyes of these men? We will not come up. Then Moses was very angry and said to the Lord, Do not respect their offering. I have not taken one donkey from them, nor have I hurt them. And Moses said to Korah, Tomorrow you and all your company be present before the Lord, you and they as well as Aaron. Let each take his censer and put incense in it, and each of you bring your censer before the Lord. 250 censers, both you and Aaron, each with a censer. So every man took a censer, put fire in it, laid incense on it, and stood at the door of the tabernacle of meeting with Moses and Aaron. And Korah gathered all the congregation against them at the door of the tabernacle of meeting. Then the glory of the Lord appeared to all the congregation. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, Separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. Then they fell on their faces and said, O God, the God of the spirits of all flesh, shall one man sin and you be angry with all the congregation? So the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the congregation, saying, Get away from the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. Then Moses rose and went to Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. And he spoke to the congregation, saying, Depart now from the tents of these wicked men. Touch nothing of theirs, lest you be consumed in all their sins. So they got away from around the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. And Dathan and Abiram came out and stood at the door of their tents, with their wives, their sons, and all their little children. And Moses said, By this you shall know that the Lord has sent all their little children. And Moses said, By this you shall know that the Lord has sent me to do all these works. For I have not done them of my own will. If these men die naturally like all men, or if they are visited by the common fate of all men, then the Lord has not sent me. But if the Lord creates a new thing, and the earth opens its mouth and swallows them with all that belongs to them, and they go down to the pit, alive into the pit, then you will understand that these men have rejected the Lord. Now it came to pass, as he finished speaking all these words, the ground split apart under them, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up, with their households and all the men with Korah and all their goods. So they and all those with them went down alive into the pit. The earth closed over them, and they perished from among the assembly. Then all Israel who were around them fled at their cry, for they said, Lest the earth swallow us up also. And a fire came out from the Lord, and consumed the 250 men who were offering incense. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Tell Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, to pick up the censers out of the blaze, for they are holy, and scatter the fire some distance away. The censers of these men who sinned against their own souls, let them be made into hammered plates as a covering for the altar, because they presented them before the Lord. Therefore they are holy, and it shall be a sign to the children of Israel. So Eleazar the priest took the bronze censers, which those who were burned up had presented, and they were hammered out as a covering on the altar, to be a memorial to the children of Israel, that no outsider, who is not a descendant of Aaron, should come near to offer incense before the Lord, that he might not become like Korah and his companions, just as the Lord had said to him through Moses. On the next day, all the congregation of the children of Israel complained against Moses and Aaron, saying, You have killed the people of the Lord. Now it happened, when the congregation had gathered against Moses and Aaron, that they turned toward the tabernacle of meeting, and suddenly the cloud covered it, and the glory of the Lord appeared. Then Moses and Aaron came before the tabernacle of meeting. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Get away from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. And they fell on their faces. So Moses said to Aaron, Take a censer, and put fire in it from the altar, put incense on it, and take it quickly to the congregation, and make atonement for them. For wrath has gone out from the Lord, the plague has begun. Then Aaron took it as Moses commanded, and ran into the midst of the assembly. And already the plague had begun among the people. So he put in the incense and made atonement for the people, and he stood before the dead and the living, and the plague was stopped. Now those who died in the plague were 14,700, besides those who died in the Korah incident. So Aaron returned to Moses at the door of the tabernacle meeting, for the plague had stopped. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and get from them a rod from each father's house. All their leaders according to their father's houses, 12 rods. Write each man's name on his rod, and you shall write Aaron's name on the rod of Levi, for there shall be one rod for the head of each father's house. Then you shall place them in the tabernacle of meeting before the testimony, where I meet you. It shall be that the rod of the man whom I choose will blossom. Thus I will rid myself of the complaints of the children of Israel, which they make against you. So Moses spoke to the children of Israel, and each of their leaders gave him a rod apiece, for each leader according to their father's houses, 12 rods, and the rod of Aaron was among their rods. And Moses placed the rods before the Lord in the tabernacle of witness. Now it came to pass on the next day that Moses went into the tabernacle of witness, and behold, the rod of Aaron of the house of Levi had sprouted and put forth buds, and had produced blossoms and yielded ripe almonds. Then Moses brought out all the rods from before the Lord to all the children of Israel, and they looked, and each man took his rod. And the Lord said to Moses, Bring Aaron's rod back before the testimony, to be kept as a sign among the rebels, that you may put their complaints away from me, lest they die. Thus did Moses, just as the Lord commanded him. So he did. So the children of Israel spoke to Moses, saying, Surely we die, we perish, we all perish. Whoever even comes near the tabernacle, surely we die, we perish, we all perish. Whoever even comes near the tabernacle of the Lord must die. Shall we all utterly die? Then the Lord said to Aaron, You and your sons and your father's house with you shall bear the iniquity related to the sanctuary. You and your sons with you shall bear the iniquity associated with the priesthood. Also bring with you your brethren of the tribe of Levi, the tribe of your father, that they may be joined with you and serve you, while you and your sons are with you before the tabernacle of witness. They shall attend to your needs and all the needs of the tabernacle, but they shall not come near the articles of the sanctuary and the altar, lest they die, they and you also. They shall be joined with you and attend to the needs of the tabernacle of meeting, for all the work of the tabernacle, but an outsider shall not come near you. And you shall attend to the duties of the sanctuary and the duties of the altar, that there may be no more wrath in the children of Israel. Behold, I myself have taken your brethren to the Levites from among the children of Israel. They are a gift to you, given by the Lord to do the work of the tabernacle of meeting. Therefore, you and your sons with you shall attend to your priesthood for everything at the altar and behind the veil, and you shall serve. I, I give your priesthood to you as a gift for service, but the outsider who comes near shall be put to death. And the Lord spoke to Aaron, Here I myself have also given you charge of my heave offerings, all the holy gifts of the children of Israel. I have given them as a portion to you and your sons as an ordinance forever. This shall be yours of the most holy things reserved from the fire. Every offering of theirs, every grain offering, and every sin offering, and every trespass offering which they render to me, shall be most holy for you and your sons. In a most holy place you shall eat it. Every male shall eat it. It shall be holy to you. This also is yours, the heave offering of their gift, with all the wave offering of the children of Israel. I have given them to you, and your sons and daughters with you, as an ordinance forever. Everyone who's clean in your house may eat it. All the best of the oil, all the best of the new wine, and the grain, their first fruits which they offer to the Lord, I have given them to you. Whatever first ripe fruit is in their land, which they bring to the Lord, shall be yours. Everyone who is clean in your house may eat it. Every devoted thing in Israel shall be yours. Everything that first opens the wound of all flesh, which they bring to the Lord, whether man or beast, shall be yours. Nevertheless, the firstborn of man you shall surely redeem, and the firstborn of unclean animals you shall redeem. And those redeemed of the devoted things you shall redeem 1 month. gold, according to your valuation, for 5 shekels of silver, according to the shekel of the sanctuary, which is 20 gerahs. But the firstborn of a cow, the firstborn of a sheep, or the firstborn of a goat you shall not redeem. They are holy. You shall sprinkle their blood on the altar, and burn their fat as an offering made by fire, for a sweet aroma to the Lord. And their flesh shall be yours, just as the wave breast and the right thigh are yours. All the heave offerings of the holy things which the children of Israel offer to the Lord, I have given to you and your sons and daughters with you, as an ordinance forever. It is a covenant of salt forever before the Lord, with you and your descendants with you. Then the Lord said to Aaron, You shall have no inheritance in their land, nor shall you have any portion among them. I am your portion and your inheritance among the children of Israel. Behold, I have given the children of Levi all the tithes in Israel, as an inheritance in return for the work which they perform, the work of the tabernacle of meeting. Hereafter the children of Israel shall not come near the tabernacle of meeting, lest they bear sin and die. The Levites shall perform the work of the tabernacle of meeting, and they shall bear their iniquity. It shall be a statute forever, throughout your generations, that among the children of Israel they shall have no inheritance. For the tithes of the children of Israel, which they offer up as a heave offering to the Lord, I have given to the Levites as an inheritance. Therefore I have said to them, Among the children of Israel they shall have no inheritance. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the Levites and say to them, When you take from the children of Israel the tithes which I have given you from them as your inheritance, then you shall offer up as a heave offering of it to the Lord a tenth of the tithe. And your heave offering shall be reckoned to you as though it were the grain of the threshing floor, and as the fullness of the winepress. Thus you shall also offer a heave offering to the Lord from all your tithes which you receive from the children of Israel, and you shall give the Lord's heave offering from it to Aaron the priest. Of all your gifts you shall offer up every heave offering due to the Lord, from all the best of them, the consecrated part of them. Therefore you shall say to them, When you have lifted up the best of it, then the rest shall be accounted to the Levites as the produce of the threshing floor, and as the produce of the winepress. You may eat it in any place, you and your households, for it is your reward for your work in the tabernacle of meeting. You shall bear no sin because of it, when you have lifted up the best of it, but you shall not profane the holy gifts of the children of Israel, lest you die. Now the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, This is the ordinance of the law which the Lord has commanded, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, that they bring you a red heifer without blemish, in which there is no defect, on which a yoke has never come. You shall give it to Eleazar the priest, that he may take it outside the camp, and it shall be slaughtered before him. And Eleazar the priest shall take some of its blood with his finger, and sprinkle some of its blood 7 times directly in front of the tabernacle of meeting. Then the heifer shall be burned in his sight, its hide, its flesh, its blood, and its offal shall be burned. And the priest shall take cedar wood and hyssop and scarlet, and cast them into the midst of the fire burning the heifer. Then the priest shall wash his clothes, he shall bathe in water, and afterward he shall come into the camp. The priest shall be unclean until evening. And the one who burns it shall wash his clothes in water, bathe in water, and shall be unclean until evening. Then a man who is clean shall gather up the ashes of the heifer, and store them outside the camp at a clean place, and they shall be kept for the congregation of the children of Israel, for the water of purification. It is for purifying from sin. And the one who gathers the ashes of the heifer shall wash his clothes, and be unclean until evening. It shall be a statute forever to the children of Israel, and to the stranger who dwells among them. He who touches the dead body of any one shall be unclean 7 days. He shall purify himself with the water on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day, then he shall be clean. Then he will be clean. But if he does not purify himself on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day, he will not be clean. Whoever touches the body of anyone who has died and does not purify himself, he defiles the tabernacle of the Lord. That person shall be cut off from Israel. He shall be unclean, because the water of purification was not sprinkled on him. His uncleanness is still on him. This is the law when a man dies in a tent. All who come into the tent and all who are in the tent shall be unclean 7 days. And every open vessel, which has no cover fastened on it, is unclean. Whoever in the open field touches one who is slain by the sword, or who has died, or a bone of a man or a grave shall be unclean 7 days. And for an unclean person, they shall take some of the ashes of the heifer burnt for purification from sin, and running water shall be put on them in a vessel. A clean person shall take hyssop and dip it in the water, sprinkle it on the tent of all the vessels, on the persons who were there, or on the one who touched a bone, the slain, the dead, or a grave. The clean person shall sprinkle the unclean on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day, and on the 7th day he shall purify himself, wash his clothes, and bathe in water, and at evening he shall be clean. But the man who is unclean and does not purify himself, that person shall be cut off from among the assembly, because he has defiled the sanctuary of the Lord. The water of purification has not been sprinkled on him, he is unclean. It shall be a perpetual shame for them. He who sprinkles the water of purification shall wash his clothes, and who touches the water of purification shall be unclean until evening. Whatever the unclean person touches shall be unclean, and the person who touches it shall be unclean until evening. And the children of Israel, the whole congregation, came into the wilderness of Zin in the 1st month, and the people stayed in Kadesh, and Miriam died there and was buried there. And there was no water for the congregation, so they gathered together against Moses and Aaron, and the people contended with Moses and spoke, saying, "If only we had died when our brethren died before the Lord. Why have you brought up the assembly of the Lord into this wilderness, that we and our animals should die here? And why have you made us come up out of Egypt to bring us to this evil place? Is it not a place of grain, or figs, or vines, or pomegranates? Nor is there any water to drink." It is not a place of grain, or figs, or vines, or pomegranates, nor is there any water to drink. So Moses and Aaron went from the presence of the assembly to the door of the tabernacle of meeting, and they fell on their faces, and the glory of the Lord appeared to them. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Take the rod, you and your brother Aaron, gather the congregation together. Speak to the rock before their eyes, and it will yield its water. Speak to the rock before their eyes, and it will yield its water. Thus you shall bring water for them out of the rock, and give drink to the congregation and their animals." So Moses took the rod from before the Lord as he commanded him. And Moses and Aaron gathered the assembly together before the rock, and he said to them, "Hear now, you rebels, must we bring water for you out of this rock?" Then Moses lifted his hand and struck the rock twice with his rod, and the water came out abundantly, and the congregation and their animals. Then the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, "Because you did not believe me to hallow me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore you shall not bring this assembly into the land which I have given them." This was the water of Meribah, because the children of Israel contended with the Lord, and he was hallowed among them. Now Moses sent messengers from Kadesh to the king of Edom. "This is your brother Israel. You know all the hardship that has befallen us, how our fathers went down to Egypt, and we dwelt in Egypt a long time, and the Egyptians afflicted us and our fathers. When we cried out to the Lord, he heard our voice and sent the angel, and brought us up out of Egypt. Now here we are in Kadesh, a city on the edge of your border. Please let us pass through your country. We will not pass through fields or vineyards, nor will we drink water from wells. We will go along the king's highway. We will not turn aside to the right hand or to the left until we have passed through your territory." Then Edom said to him, "You shall not pass through my land, lest I come out against you with the sword." So the children of Israel said to him, "We will go by the highway, and if I and my livestock drink any of your water, then I will pay for it. Let me only pass through on foot, nothing more." Then he said, "You shall not pass through." So Edom came out against them with many men and with a strong hand. Thus Edom refused to give Israel passage through his territory. So Israel turned away from him. Now the children of Israel, the whole congregation, journeyed from Kadesh and came to Mount Hor. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron in Mount Hor by the border of the land of Edom, saying, "Aaron shall be gathered to his people, For he shall not enter the land which I have given to the children of Israel, because you rebelled against my word at the water of Meribah. Take Aaron and Eleazar his son, bring them up to Mount Hor, and strip Aaron of his garments, and put them on Eleazar his son, for Aaron shall be gathered to his people and die there. So Moses did just as the Lord commanded, and they went up to Mount Hor in the sight of all the congregation. Moses stripped Aaron of his garments and put them on Eleazar his son, and Aaron died there on the top of the mountain. Then Moses and Eleazar came down from the mountain. Now when all the congregation saw that Aaron was dead, all the house of Israel mourned for Aaron 30 days. The king of Arad, the Canaanite, who dwelt in the south, heard that Israel was coming on their road to Ephraim. Then he fought against Israel and took some of them prisoners. So Israel made a vow to the Lord and said, "If you will indeed deliver this people into my hand, then I will utterly destroy their cities." And the Lord listened to the voice of Israel and delivered up the Canaanites, and they utterly destroyed them and their cities. So the name of that place was called Hormah. Then they journeyed from Mount Hor by the way of the Red Sea to go around the land of Edom. And the soul of the people became very discouraged on the way. And the people spoke against God and against Moses. "Why have you brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? For there is no food and no water, and our soul loathes this worthless bread." So the Lord sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and many of the people of Israel died. Therefore the people came to Moses and said, "We have sinned, for we have spoken against the Lord and against you. Pray to the Lord that he take away the serpents from us." So Moses prayed for the people. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Make a fiery serpent and set it on the pole, and so it shall be that everyone who is bitten, when he looks at it, shall live." So Moses made a bronze serpent and put it on a pole, and so it was, if the serpent had bitten anyone, when he looked at the bronze serpent, he lived. Now the children of Israel moved on and camped in Obeth, and they journeyed from Obeth and camped at Ish-Abrim, in the wilderness which is east of Moab, toward the sunrise. From there they moved and camped in the valley of Zered. From there they moved and camped on the other side of the Arnon, which is in the wilderness that extends from the border of the Amorites. For the Arnon is in the border of Moab, between Moab and the Amorites. Therefore it is said in the book of the wars of the Lord, Wahab and Sapur, the brooks of the Arnon, and the slope of the brooks that reaches to the dwelling of Ar, and lies on the border of Moab. From there they went to Beer, which is the well where the Lord said to Moses, "Gather the people together, and I will give them water." Then Israel sang this song: "Spring up, O well, all you sing to it. The well the leaders sank, dug by the nation's nobles, by the log, O well, all you sing to it. The well the leaders sank, dug by the nation's nobles, by the lawgiver with their staves." And from the wilderness they went to Mataan, and from Matanah to Nahalil, from Nahalil to Bathmoth, and from Bathmoth in the valley that is in the country of Moab, to the top of Pisgah, which looks down on the wasteland. Then Israel sent messengers to Sihon, king of the Amorites, saying, "Let me pass through your land. Do not turn aside into fields. We will not turn aside into fields or vineyards. We will not drink water from wells. We will go by the king's highway until we have passed through your territory." But Sihon would not allow Israel to pass through his territory. So Sihon gathered all his people together and went out against Israel in the wilderness. And he came to Jahaz and fought against Israel. Then Israel defeated him with the edge of the sword and took possession of his land from Arnon to Jabbok, as far as the people of Ammon. For the border of the people of Ammon was fortified. So Israel took all these cities, and Israel dwelt in all the cities of the Amorites, and Heshbon, and all its villages. For Heshbon was the city of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who had fought against the former king of Moab, and had taken all his land from his hand as far as the Arnon. Therefore those who speak in Proverbs say, "Come to Heshbon, let it be rebuilt, let the city of Sihon be repaired." For fire went out from Heshbon, a flame from the city of Sihon. It consumed Ar of Moab, and the lords of the heights of the Arnon. Woe to you, Moab! You have perished, O people of Chemosh. He has given his sons as fugitives and his daughters into captivity to Sihon, king of the Amorites. But we have shot at them. Heshbon has perished as far as Dibon. Then we laid waste as far as Nopah, which reaches to Medeba. Thus Israel dwelt in the land of the Amorites. Then Moses sent to spy out Jazer, and they took its villages and drove out the Amorites who were there. And they turned and went up by the way to Bashan. So Og, king of Bashan, went out against them, he and all his people, to battle at Edrei. Then the Lord said to Moses, Do not fear him, for I have delivered him into your hand, with all his people and his land, and you shall do to him as you did to Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwelt at Heshbon. So they defeated him, his sons and all his people, until there was no survivor left, and they took possession of his land. Then the children of Israel moved and camped in the plains of Moab, on the side of the Jordan across from Jericho. Now Balak, son of Zippor, saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites, and Moab was exceedingly afraid of the people, because there were many. And Moab was sick with dread because of the children of Israel. So Moab said to the elders of Midian, Now this company will lick up everything around us, as an ox licks up the grass of the field. And Balak the son of Zippor was king of the Moabites at the time. Then he sent messengers to Balaam, son of Beor at Pethor, which is near the river, in the land of the sons of his people, to call him, saying, Look, a people has come from Egypt. See, they cover the face of the earth, and are settling next to me. Therefore please come at once, and curse these people for me, for they are too mighty for me. Perhaps I shall be able to defeat them and drive them out of the land, for I know that he whom you bless is blessed, and he whom you curse is cursed. So the elders of Moab and the elders of Midian departed with the diviner's fee in their hand, and they came to Balaam and spoke to him the words of Balak. And he said to them, Lodge here tonight, and I will bring back word to you, as the Lord speaks through me. So the princes of Moab stayed with Balaam. Then God came to Balaam and said, Who are these men with you? So Balaam said to God, Balak the son of Zippor, king of Moab, has sent me, saying, Look, a people has come out of Egypt, and they cover the face of the earth. Come now, curse them for me. Perhaps I shall be able to overpower them and drive them out. And God said to Balaam, You shall not go with them. You shall not curse the people, for they are blessed. So Balaam rose in the morning and said to the princes of Balak, Go back to your land, for the Lord has refused to give me permission to go with you. And the princes of Moab rose and went to Balak and said, Balaam refuses to come with us. Then Balak again sent princes more numerous and more honorable than they. And they came to Balaam and said to him, Thus says Balak the son of Zippor, Please let nothing hinder you from coming to me, for I will certainly honor you greatly, and I will do whatever you say to me. Therefore please come curse this people for me. Then Balaam answered and said to the servants of Balak, Though Balak were to give me his house full of silver and gold, I could not go beyond the word of the Lord my God to do less or more. Now therefore please you also stay here tonight, that I may know what more the Lord will say to me. And God came to Balaam that night and said to him, If the men come to call you, rise and go with them. But only the word which I speak to you, that you shall do. So Balaam rose in the morning, saddled his donkey, and went with the princes of Moab. Then God's anger was aroused because he went, and the angel of the Lord took his stand in the way as an adversary against him. And he was riding on his donkey, and his two servants were with him. Now the donkey saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way with his drawn sword in his hand. And the donkey turned aside out of the way and went into the field. So Balaam struck the donkey to turn her back into the road. Then the angel of the Lord stood in a narrow path between the vineyards, with a wall on this side and a wall on that side. And when the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, she pushed herself into the wall and crushed Balaam's foot against the wall. So he struck her again. Then the angel of the Lord went further and stood in a narrow place, where there is no way to turn either to the right hand or to the left. And when the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, she lay down under Balaam. So Balaam's anger was aroused, and he struck the donkey with his staff. Then the Lord opened the mouth of the donkey, and she said to Balaam, "What have I done to you, that you have struck me these 3 times?" And Balaam said to the donkey, "Because you have abused me. I wish there were a sword in my hand, for now I would kill you." So the donkey said to Balaam, "Am I not your donkey on which you have ridden, ever since I became yours to this day? Was I ever disposed to do this to you?" And he said, "No." Then the Lord opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way with his drawn sword in his hand, and he bowed his head and fell flat on his face. And the angel of the Lord said to him, "Why have you struck your donkey these 3 times? Behold, I have come out to stand against you, because your way is perverse before me. The donkey saw me and turned aside from me these 3 times. If she had not turned aside from me, surely I would have also killed you by now and let her live." And Balaam said to the angel of the Lord, "I have sinned, for I did not know you stood in the way against me. Now therefore, if it displeases you, I will turn back." Then the angel of the Lord said to Balaam, "Go with the men, but only the word that I speak to you, that you shall speak." So Balaam went with the princess of Balak. Now when Balak heard that Balaam was coming, he went out to meet him at the city of Moab, which is on the border of the Arnon, the boundary of the territory. Then Balak said to Balaam, "Did I not earnestly send you, calling for you? Why did you not come to me? Am I not able to honor you?" And Balaam said to Balak, "Look, I have come to you. Now have I any power to say anything at all to say anything? The word that God puts in my mouth, that I must speak." So Balaam went with Balak, and they came to Kirjath Huzoth. Then Balak offered oxen and sheep, and he sent some to Balaam and to the princes who were with him. So it was the next day that Balak took Balaam and brought him up to the high places of Baal, that from there he might observe the extent of the people. Then Balaam said to Balak, "Build 7 altars for me here, and prepare for me here 7 bulls and 7 rams." And Balak did just as Balaam had spoken. And Balak and Balaam offered a bull and a ram on each altar. Then Balaam said to Balak, "Stand by your burnt offering, and I will go. Perhaps the Lord will come to meet with me. Whatever he shows me, I will tell you." So he went to a desolate height, and God met Balaam, and he said to him, "I have prepared the 7 altars, and I have offered on each altar a bull and a ram." Then the Lord put a word in Balaam's mouth and said, "Return to Balak, and thus you shall speak." So he returned to him, and there he was, standing by his burnt offering, he and all the princes of Moab. And he took up his oracle and said, "Balak the son of Moab has brought to me from Aram, from the mountains of the east. Come, curse Jacob for me. Come, denounce Israel. How shall I curse God, whom God has not cursed? How shall I denounce whom God has not denounced? For from the top of the rocks I see him, and from the hills I behold him. There, a people dwelling alone, not reckoning itself among the nations. Who can count the dust of Jacob, or number 1/4 of Israel? Let me die the death of the righteous, and let my end be like his." Then Balak said to Balaam, "What have you done to me? I took you to curse my enemies, and look, you have blessed them bountifully." So he answered and said, "Must I not take heed to speak what the Lord has put in my mouth?" Then Balak said to him, Please come to me to another place from which you may see them. You shall only see the outer part of them, and shall not see them all. Curse them for me from there." So he brought him to the field of Zophim, to the top of Pisgah, and built 7 altars, and offered a bull and a ram on each altar. And he said to Balak, "Stand here by your burnt offering while I meet the Lord over there." Then the Lord met Balaam, and put a word in his mouth, and said, "Go back to Balak, and thus you shall speak." So he came to him, and there he was, standing by his burnt offering. And the princes of Moab were with him. And Balak said to him, "What has the Lord spoken?" Then he took up his oracle and said, "Rise up, Balak, and hear. Listen to me, son of Zippor. God is not a man that he should lie, nor a son of man that he should repent. Has he said, and he will not do? Or has he spoken, and he will not make it good? Behold, I have received a command to bless. He has blessed, and I cannot reverse it. He has not observed iniquity in Jacob, nor has he seen wickedness in Israel. The Lord his God is with him, and the shout of a king is among them. God brings them out of Egypt, and he has strength like a wild ox. For there is no sorcery against Jacob, nor any divination against Israel. Now it now must be said of Jacob and of Israel, oh, what God has done. Look, a people rises like a lioness and lifts itself up like a lion. It shall not lie down until it devours its prey and drinks the blood of the slain. Then Balak said to Balaam, neither curse them at all nor bless them at all. So Balaam answered and said to Balak, did I not tell you, saying, all that the Lord speaks that I must do? Then Balak said to Balaam, please come. I will take you to another place. Perhaps it will please God that you may curse them for me from there. So Balak took Balaam to the top of Peor that overlooks the wasteland. Then Balaam said to Balak, build for me here 7 altars, and prepare for me here 7 bulls and 7 rams. And Balak did as Balaam had said, and offered a bull and a ram on every altar. Now, when Balaam saw that it pleased the Lord to bless Israel, he did not go as at other times to seek to use sorcery, but he set his face toward the wilderness. And Balaam raised his eyes and saw Israel encamped according to their tribes, and the Spirit of God came upon him. Then he took up his oracle and said, the utterance of Balaam the son of Beor, the utterance of a man whose eyes are opened, the utterance of him who hears the words of God, who sees the vision of the Almighty, who falls down with eyes wide open. How lovely are your tents, O Jacob, your dwellings, O Israel, like valleys that stretch out, like gardens by the riverside, like aloes planted by the Lord, like cedars beside the waters. He shall pour water from his buckets, and his seas shall be in many waters. His king shall be higher than Agag, and his kingdom shall be exalted. God brings him out of Egypt. He has strength like a wild ox. He shall consume the nations his enemies. He shall break their bones and pierce them with his arrows. He bows down, he lies down as a lion, and as a lion who shall rouse him. Blessed is he who blesses you, and cursed is he who curses you. Then Balak's anger was aroused against Balaam, and he struck his hands together, and and Balak said to Balaam, I called you to curse my enemies, and look, you have bountifully blessed them these 3 times. Now therefore flee to your place. I said I would greatly honor you, but in fact the Lord has kept you back from honor. So Balaam said to Balak, did I not also speak to your messengers whom you sent to me, saying, if Balak were to give me his house full of silver and gold, I could not go beyond the word of the Lord to do good or bad of my own will. But the Lord says that I must speak. And now indeed I am going to my people. Come, I will advise you what the people will do to your people in the latter days. So Balaam took his oracle and said, the utterance of Balaam the son of Beor, the utterance of a man whose eyes are open, the utterance of him who hears the words of God, and has knowledge of the Most High, who sees the vision of the Almighty, who falls down with eyes wide open. I see him, but not now. I behold him, but not near. A star shall come out of Jacob. A scepter shall rise out of Israel, and batter the brow of Moab, and destroy all the sons of tumult. And Edom shall be a possession. Seir also, his enemy, shall be a possession. While Israel does valiantly, out of Jacob one shall have dominion, and destroy the remains of the city. He then looked on Amalek, and took up his oracle, and said, Amalek was the first among the nations, but shall be last until he perishes. Then he looked on the Canaanites, and took up his oracle, and said, firm is your dwelling place, and your nest is set on the rock. Nevertheless, Cain shall be burned. How long until Asher carries you away captive? Then he took up his oracle and said, alas, who shall live when God does this? But ships shall come from the coast of Cyprus, and they shall afflict Asher and afflict Aber, and so shall Amalek until he perishes. So Balaam arose and departed and returned to his place. Balak also went his way. Now Israel remained in Acacia Grove, and the people began to commit harlotry with the women of Moab. They invited the people to the sacrifices of their gods, and the people ate and bowed down to their gods. So Israel was joined to Baal of Peor, and the anger of the Lord was aroused against Israel. Then the Lord said to Moses, take all the leaders of the people and hang the offenders before the Lord out in the sun, that the fierce anger of the Lord may turn away from Israel. So Moses said to the judges of Israel, every one of you kill his men who were joined to Baal of Peor. And indeed, one of the children of Israel came and presented to his brethren a Midianite woman in the sight of Moses and in the sight of all the congregation of the children of Israel, who were weeping at the door of the tabernacle of meeting. Now when Phinehas the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, saw it, he rose among the congregation, and took a javelin in his hand, and he went after the man of Israel into the tent, and thrust both of them through, the man of Israel and the woman through her body. So the plague was stopped among the children of Israel, and those who died in the plague were 24,000. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Phinehas the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, has turned back my wrath from the children of Israel, because he was zealous with my zeal among them. So I did not consume the children of Israel in my zeal. Therefore say, behold, I give to him my covenant of peace, and it shall be to him and his descendants after him a covenant of an everlasting priesthood, because he was zealous for his God, and made atonement for the children of Israel. Now the name of an Israelite who was killed, the name of the Israelite who was killed with the Midianite woman, was Zimri, the son of Salu, a leader of a father's house among the Simeonites. And the name of the Midianite woman who was killed was Cosbi, the daughter of Zur. He was head of the people of a father's house in Midian. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, harass the Midianites and attack them, for they harass you with their schemes, by which they seduced you in the matter of Peor, and in the matter of Cosbi, the daughter of the leader of Midian, their sister, who was killed in the day of the plague because of Peor. And it came to pass after the plague that the Lord spoke to Moses and Eleazar the son of Aaron the priest, saying, take a census of all the congregation of the children of Israel, from 20 years old and above, by their fathers' houses, all who are able to go to war in Israel. So Moses and Eleazar the priest, fathers' houses, all who are able to go to war in Israel. So Moses and Eleazar the priest spoke with them in the plains of Moab by the Jordan, across from Jericho, saying, take a census of the people from 20 years old and above, just as the Lord commanded Moses and the children of Israel, who came out of the land of Egypt. Reuben was the firstborn of Israel. The children of Reuben were Hanok, the family of the Hanokites; of Palau, the family of the Palauites; of Hezron, the family of the Hezronites; of Carmi, the family of the Carmites. These are the families of the Reubenites. Those who were numbered of them were 43,730. And the son of Palau was Eliab. The sons of Eliab were Nemuel, Dathan, and Abiram. These are the Dathan and Abiram, representatives of the congregation, who contended against Moses and Aaron in the company of Korah, when they contended against the Lord. And the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up together with Korah when that company died, when the fire devoured 250 men, and they became a sign. Nevertheless, the children of Korah did not die. The sons of Simeon, according to their families, were of Nemuel, the family of the Nemuelites; of Jamin, the family of the Geminites; of Jachin, the family of the Jachinites; of Zerah, the family of the Zarites; of Shaul, the family of the Shaulites. These are the families of the Simeonites, 22,200. The sons of Gad, according to their families, were of Zephon, the family of the Zephonites; of Haggai, the family of the Haggites; of Shuni, the family of the Shunites; of Ozni, the family of the Oznites; of Eri, the family of the Erites; of Arod, the family of the Ardites; of Arli, the family of the Arlites. These are the families of the sons of Gad, according to those who were numbered of them, 40,500. The sons of Judah were and Onan, and and Onan died in the land of Canaan. And the sons of Judah, according to their families, were Shelah, and the family of the Shilonites; of Perez, the family of the Parzites; of Zerah, the family of the Zarites. And the sons of Perez were Hezron, the family of the Hezronites; of Hamul, the family of the Hamulites. These are the families of Judah, according to those who were numbered of them, 76,500. The sons of Issachar, according to their families, were of Tola, the family of the Tolites; of Pua, the family of the Punites; of Jeshib, the family of the Jeshubites; Of Shimron, the family of the Shimronites. These are the families of Issachar, according to those who were numbered of them, 64,300. The sons of Zebulun, according to their families, were of Sarid, the family of the Sardites; of Elon, the family of the Elonites; of Jaleel, the family of the Jaleelites. These are the families of the Zebulites, according to those who were numbered of them, 60,500. The sons of Joseph, according to their families, by Manasseh and Ephraim, were the sons of Manasseh of Mahir, the family of the Mahirites, and Mahir begot Gilead; of Gilead, the family of the Gileadites. These are the sons of Gilead; of Chezer, the family of the Chezerites; of Helek, the family of the Helekites; of Esrael, the family of the Esraelites; of Shechem, the family of the Shechemites; of Shemida, the family of the Shemidites; of Hefer, the family of the Heferites. Now Zelophehad, the son of Hefer, had no sons but daughters, and the names of the daughters were Zelophehad were Machlal, Noah, Haglah, Milcah, and Tisra. These are the families of Manasseh, and those who were numbered of them were 52,700. These were the sons of Ephraim, according to their families, of Shuthelah, the family of the Shuhalites; of Beher, the family of the Bachrites; of Tahan, the family of the Tahanites. And these are the sons of Shelulah; of Iran, the family of the Iranites. These are the families of the sons of Ephraim, according to those who were numbered of them, 32,500. These are the sons of Joseph, according to their families. The sons of Benjamin, according to their families, were of Bela, the family of the Belites; of Ashbeel, the family of the Ashbelites; of Ahram, the family of the Ahramites; of Shupam, the family of the Shupamites; of Hupam, the family of the Hupamites. And the sons of Bela were Ard and Naaman; of Ard, the family of the Ardites; of Naaman, the family of the Nahamites. These are the sons of Benjamin, according to their families, and those who were numbered of them were 45,600. These were the sons of Dan, according to their families, of Shuham, the families of the Shuhamites. These are the families of Dan, according to their families. All the families of the Shuhamites, according to those who were numbered of them, were 64,400. The sons of Asher, according to their families, were of Jemnah, the family of the Jemnites; of Jesu, the family of the Jesuites; of Berea, the family of the Bereites; of the sons of Berea, of Heber, the family of the Heberites; of Malchiel, the family of the Malchielites. And the name of the daughter of Asher was Surah. These are the families of the sons of Asher, according to those who were numbered of them, 53,400. The sons of Naphtali, according to their families, were of Jasiel, the family of the Jasielites; of Guni, the family of the Gunites; of Jazer, the family of the Jezerites; of Shalem, the family of the Shalemites. These are the families of Naphtali, according to their families, and those who were numbered of them were 45,400. These are those who were numbered of the children of Israel, 601,750. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, to these the land shall be divided as an inheritance according to the number of names. To a large tribe you shall give a large inheritance, and to a small tribe you shall give a smaller inheritance. And each shall be given its inheritance according to those who are numbered of them. But the land shall be divided by lot. They shall inherit according to the names of the tribes of their fathers. According to the lot, their inheritance shall be divided between the larger and the smaller. And these are those who were numbered of the Levites according to the families of Gershon. The families of the Gershonites of Kohath, the family of the Kohathites of Merari, the family of the Merarites. These are the families of the Levites. The family of the Libanites, the family of the Hebronites, the family of the Mahlites, the family of the Mushites, and the family of the Kohathites. And Kohath begot Amram. The name of Amram's wife was Jochebed, the daughter of Levi, was born to Levi in Egypt, and to Amram she begot Aaron and Moses and their sister Miriam. To Aaron were born Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar and Itmahar, and Nadab and Abihu died when they offered profane fire before the Lord. Now those who were numbered of them were 23,000, every male from a month old and above, for they were not numbered among the other children of Israel, because there was no inheritance given to them among the children of Israel. These are those who were numbered by Moses and Eleazar the priest, who numbered the children of Israel in the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho. But among these there was not a man of those who was numbered by Moses and Aaron, the priests, when they numbered the children of Israel in the wilderness of Sinai. For the Lord had said to them, shall surely die in the wilderness. So there is not left a man of them except Caleb the son of Jephunneh and Joshua the son of Nun. Okay, I'm actually going to finish there tonight. I'm just really too tired to keep going, and I think that's sufficient to keep us sort of on track. I hope y'all enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.